Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of TCG Talk. Today we're back with another deck tech video that I wanted to do. It's a new hero I'm playing recently, Chane, obviously, who's been very popular, especially in the Monarch meta. Since the Seeds ban, people thought he went way down in power level, but really he just kind of went down a little bit. He's definitely not as dominating as he used to be. However, he's still very good. Obviously, a couple top 8 finishes in the constructed format. And Blitz, he's really good, I think, right now for this meta. It's a highly aggro meta, and having him against a Briar or against even other aggro matchups in the format, even like a Kano, he can race those heroes pretty decently well. And he also has some other useful things to help him deal with like kind of the ice meta you're seeing with a lot of blues and a lot of different things he can play from Banish. So overall, really good hero. He's new for me. I haven't played a ton of Chane, but I've been trying to just mess with the deck with the cards that I have. And hopefully, for anybody that's wanting to try out Chane or play Chane, hopefully some of these cards will prove useful for you. And yeah, hopefully you enjoy the deck. So here's the deck that I'm running. Obviously, Chane with his Soul Shackle ability, which gives his next Rune Blade or Shadow Action card this turn gains Go Again. The good thing about Soul Shackle is you can activate it at any point during the turn. It doesn't have to be at the beginning. It's just at the beginning of your action phase is when you actually banish the cards off top of your deck. But you basically can Soul Shackle on command once per turn to give your next card Go Again. So it's really useful for that. He's really good. For my equipment, I don't have all the fancy stuff, but if you have Arcanite Skullcap, definitely run that at the headpiece. It's really good. If not, Crown Dichotomy is a really good option. It allows you to put 2 Rune Blade cards back on top of your deck. It's really good for cycling, especially if you're playing against a fatigue matchup. It also has Arcane Barrier 1, which is very useful. For the we'll do the chest. For the chest piece, right now I'm running Ether Ironweave. You obviously can run other stuff. I'll run Bloodchief Skeleton if I really want to have a little bit extra block. But I like Ether Ironweave because most turns I'm going to be playing an attack and non-attack action in that turn. So this helps me get 2 extra resources, and it blocks for 1, so it's really good for that. For my arms, I'll run Grasp with the Arknight. It's really good. Obviously, one of the premier Rune Blade equipment for creating rune chants. A couple of these cards have on-hit effects or different effects if arcane damage has been dealt that turn. So being able to create those rune chants, push through some extra arcane damage is really useful. So it's really good. And finally, I'm running Spellbound Creepers. You could run this or Snapdragon Scalers, but I like to run Spellbound Creepers because it allows me to kind of change up my sequencing and throw my opponent off guard by playing non-attack actions at instant speed. Especially something like a Plunder Run. If you play an attack and then pop Spellbound Creepers and play Plunder Run, then that draw card effect actually takes place because the damage hasn't been dealt yet. So it can really throw your opponent off. So this is the setup I'm running. Husk isn't as important in my opinion in Blitz, but it definitely can be ran. You also can run, like I said, Arcanite Skullcap, Bloodchief Skeleton. You can run Ebonfold if you want, so you can just banish a card, right off the bat if you want kind of a lower level equipment piece. There's a couple other things you could run here. And then finally, if you're playing against a Kano, you can sub out Ether Ironweave for another Null Rune equipment. So you have 3 Null Rune, or sub out Spellbound Creepers for another Null Rune equipment. So that's what I'm running for equipment with Chane, mainly what I have access to. So if you have any suggestions on different equipment that you like to play, let me know. As far as the deck, I have it in 3 different sections. I have my attacks that are not Blood Debt based. I have my Blood Debt based attacks and my non-attack action / instance. For me, I wanted to put a little bit more Blood Debt cards in there, which is going to look a little weird, but in Chane, if you whiff in Blitz, it's pretty much game over right now for the aggro meta we have. So I'm trying to almost ensure that I'm not going to whiff. So I put a little bit extra Blood Debt cards than you may see, but we'll start with the non-Blood Debt attack actions. I run Shadow of Ursa. It allows me to banish a card with Blood Debt from my hand, so I can have even another card. Maybe if the card has a Blood Debt like bonus, but it's in my hand, I can play Shadow of Ursa, and then I can banish that card to the banish zone, and then play it from banish for that extra thing. And also, if you banish a card, Debt or Shadow of Ursa gains Go Again, so it's really good for that. So it's just an overall good card, and it's a blue. So it's just really useful for pitch as well. For Trimmer of E3, I always say this wrong. If a card has been put into your banish zone this turn, you gain +2, so you're effectively hitting 1 for 6 if you don't whiff on your turn. So it's really good at red. 1 for 6 is always a really good card to have. Doesn't have Blood Debt. Shadow Versa does have Blood Debt, so it should have been in this pile, but it's fine. Doesn't have Blood Debt, so you want to try to draw it if you can. Also play Soul Reaping, which is Chane specialization. You could take this out because it doesn't always do as what you want to do. But if you have 2 or 3 cards with Blood Debt in your hand and you banish them, you're going to gain more cards to play out a banish, and you're also going to reduce the cost. So you possibly could be like, it could be a 3 for 6 card or even a 4 for 6, depending on how it plays. So it's really good for that. And if it's attacking a hero with 1 or more cards in their soul against go again, so it's really good against a Prism matchup. Like I said, you could sub this out. I just have it in there because it's a pretty good card right now. I really don't have anything else I'd rather sub it in for. So that's what I have. Also have a Lightning Strike, obviously really good card. You can give it go again. You can do the draw effect. You can do the +2, and also run Flock of the Featherwalkers. Pretty common card in Chane. 1 cost for 5, and it creates a Quicken token, which is really good for your next turn if you're trying to set up a turn. And then finally, I run Arcanic Crackle from the Tales of Aria set, or Monarch set, sorry, from the Monarch set. Really good, 0 cost, 3 and 1. Just really good for Chane overall. Like I said, I'm trying to minimize the amount of cards that don't have Blood Debt that are attacks because I don't want to whiff. So, if I put Shadow Ursa into this pile, which is where it was supposed to be, you're seeing I'm only running 9 attacks that are not Blood Debt based. So really low amount to try to minimize that whiff that I'm getting. For Blood Debt attacks, yes, I'm running Shadow Versa. Sorry, I was in the wrong pile. But yeah, same thing we talked about Shadow Versa. Also running Rift Bind, which is really good if you have non-attack actions. It gains more attack for each number of non-attack action cards you've played this turn. So if you've played 2 non-attack action cards, you're basically hitting 1 for 5. It also can be played for the Banish Zone. I run Bounding Demigon at red and yellow. So if you play a non-attack action card this turn, you can play Bounding Demigon from the Banish Zone, and it gains +1. So at red, it's a 0 cost card for 4, and at yellow, it's a 0 cost card for 3. So it's really good if you're trying to save your pitch for something else. I'll run Unhallowed Rites as well. Unhallowed Rites is really good to cycle cards from your graveyard back into the bottom of your deck, especially if they're Blood Debt cards. It's a 1 cost for 4, so it's pretty good. Piercing Shadow Vice, I run this because if you dealt arcane damage to a hero this turn, it gains +2, so it's a 2 for 6. This one, you want to try to deal as much arcane damage as you can. This is kind of a situational card. Otherwise, it's kind of an card because it's 2 for 4. But if you can get that arcane damage out, hitting for 2 for 6 out of your Banish Zone is really good. And if you shackle this, you're hitting 2 for 6 and then hit with something else, so it's really good for that. And then finally, I play Ghostly Visit. It's just straight up, you can play it for your Banish Zone. It's a 1 cost for 4. So, we're running 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14 Blood Debt attacks to try to ensure that we never miss as much as we possibly can. I know the Blood Debt's a little bit scary in Blitz, but most time you can get that out of your Banish Zone pretty quickly if you have the right amount of blues, which hopefully we do in this deck. Going into our non-attack actions and instants, we're running 2 Howl from Beyonds, which allows us to play it out of our Banish Zone, and our next attack it's +3, and this has go again as well. So it's really good for that. If you have Skeleton, you can even make this cost less, which is why Skeleton can be useful in certain instances. You pitch to create a Rune Chant. The next turn, you pop Skeleton. You can play cards like this for a reduced cost. I then end up running, where is it? Yep. I'll run 2 Dimensional Gateways. This does not have Blood Debt, so I'll put my non-Blood Debt cards over here. This does not have Blood Debt, but what it does is allows me to opt 3 and reveal the top card of my deck. If it's a Runeblade card, I deal 1 arcane damage, and if it's a Shadow card, I may banish it. So if it's a Shadow Runeblade card, I deal 1 arcane and get to banish it. It's just really good to try to set up your turns and make sure that you're not drawing cards that you don't want to be drawing. It's a really good feature for Chane to make sure he doesn't whiff, or you can play this even at the end of a turn or close to an end of a turn. You make sure that you're gonna, if you're shackling 2 or 3 times, you're on the 2 or 3 shackle, you can make sure your shackle's not going to whiff with this card. Basically, it's really good. I also play Inverted Existence. It allows me to banish up to 2 cards in the opposing hero's graveyard. If it's an attack action, non-attack action card, I deal 2 arcane damage. It has blood debt. What this allows me to do is I'll pitch this early in the game and then play it late in order to get push out that extra damage. You can also play this at the end of a turn. That way, your opponent, maybe they've already pitched for arcane and they don't have any more arcane barrier or pitch to help block the arcane. This can really help you close out games. I run energy potion, pretty self-explanatory. If you not shackle, but if you play this the prior turn, you gain 2 extra resources. Really good for like those go wide turns late game. I run captain's call, 2 captain calls to give go again or +2, and also just for those non-attack actions, as well as 1 yellow plunder run. Same thing, plunder run's just a great card. I run 1 Art of War. I don't run 2 because I don't want to. I'm trying to minimize the whiff, and you rarely get 2 Art of Wars off in a turn in a game anyway. The way that meta is going right now, so I only run 1 Art of War. Looking forward, just trying to have those good swing turns. I'll run Shadow Puppetry, obviously a great card. It gives our next card +1. And if it hits, you look at the top card of their deck. You look at the top card of your deck, you may banish it. It basically forces them to try to block out, and it's 0 cost, so it's really good. I'll then run 2 yellow plunder runs and then 2 nimbleisms. These are the ones I'm trying to avoid banishing, but sometimes it happens. So we run a fair amount of non-banished cards, but we try to up our blood debt a little bit to try like heck to prevent our whiffs on our shackles. We're trying to do as much blood debt as we can. Overall, we're running, I think, 17 blood debt cards in the deck overall. So, you basically have a 50-50 shot at not whiffing, or just under a 50% chance at not whiffing on your shackle turns, which I think with Chane right now in this aggro meta is very important. Yeah, let me know what you thought of the deck. I'm still testing it. I'm trying Chane out. I really enjoy Chane. I'm an aggro-based player, so having a hero like Chane fits into my playstyle a lot. So if you like aggro, you like to put a lot of pressure on your opponent. You basically get 1 guaranteed go again per turn with Soul Shackle. It's really good. So yeah, let me know what you think of the deck. Let me know what you would add or take away. Definitely any experienced Chane players out there. Always loving the feedback. Yeah, I hope you all have a good rest of your day, and I will talk to you all next time on TCG Talk. Thank you so much.